Okay, everyone, we're here for, excuse me, pardon me, for some author advice, and I brought oh my gosh, I brought along a couple of guests. Maggie, come on. Okay, there we go. Some guests, which is my husband, John, because a big part of today's, my topic is on working from home when your whole family is at home. And this guy right here is a big part of how I make that work. So, I don't think we're the best people at it. I think
I'm the best.
I think that we've done some things that might be useful to other people, because over the last 9 years we have had some variation on, first of all, a schedule that constantly changes and trying to juggle multiple things. So over the course of the past 9 years, John has done seasonal work where he works 90 hours in the summer and then 3 hours a day in the winter, but I work with him to not working right now. We went from having no children to having a son. We've had medical problems. We've been caretakers for people. John's father passed away, and John was really involved in helping to care for him in that last year. I've had medical problems. His mother now lives with us, and she has some medical problems, and so we've had every sort of variation that's kind of gone along, and all the way along we've had to adjust our plans. And so we've gotten a couple of things that have helped us to get my writing in as a priority and try to keep the family safe and healthy, mentally and physically. Do you have anything to add to that?
Are you going to explain how we do that?
Yes, I am. I just thought maybe you have some thoughts that you wanted to throw out right away. So first of all, I have to be really upfront, which is I'm incredibly lucky. I think a lot of people have this, but not everyone has this, which is that my partner absolutely believes that I'm an amazing writer and I'm going to be successful. And when I am lacking the confidence that I need, I can rely on him to help me with that. And he really believes in me. And that's a big part of that. I would say right now for our current life, I think with a lot of people in quarantine, you have a lot of people who's maybe your kids are home all the time, your spouse is home all the time, maybe you're working, maybe you're not, maybe you're stressed out, and there's a lot of factors, and it can feel like we have all the time in the world and I'm getting nothing done. So, I haven't really given any concrete rules. Do you want to... So anyway, for us, John's at home, we have a toddler at home, we have a mother-in-law at home. And sometimes that's amazing because we have all this help. And sometimes it's like tough because everyone needs something different at the same time. And that's something you could probably relate to. So something really concrete that we do and is we check in a lot. How are you doing? What do you need? And when we say what do you need, that is, we consider needs things like time alone. Go do something I enjoy, recharge, go talk to a friend. It can be work stuff like I have a podcast, I have these videos, we had to pay bills, we have to take care of the animals, we have to go shopping, my mother-in-law needs things, I need things. And so when we talk about what we need, it's anything that, and sometimes we don't know what that is. Sometimes he'll be cranky and I'll say, what do you need? And he'll be like, I'm fine. And we'll be like, do you need to go to the garage for an hour? Because our garage, we call it the garage, but it's not attached to the house. And so sometimes we'll cancel, like, okay, I was going to write right now, but I'm struggling to write. And he's struggling, and the baby's struggling, and my mother-in-law is struggling because she is trying to do something and she needs him to fix the computer, but he can't because the toddler's like touching everything and the toddler needs to get outside. And so I think it's really easy to ignore your needs and then all of a sudden you look around and it's total chaos. So like last night what we did, or started to do, which made me think of this video, was we talked about what do we need to do this week. On a normal week, John goes to Bible study twice a week and often goes to breakfast afterwards with his friends. And so he gets his time that's important from a religious standpoint, but a lot of it is also getting out and talking to people other than me. What other kind of things do you need throughout the week?
Well, like, to be away from people. I love you, and I love our toddler, I love my mom, but, like, sometimes I just need to not. And, you know, I mean, if we're both doing pretty good at not being rigid, we kind of spell out the things that we absolutely have to get done beforehand, and then there's a lot of wiggle room in the middle.
Right, like when we plan out our day, we don't plan out a 12-hour awake day. We plan out like a 4 to 5 hour, and then figure we can get that 4 to 5 hours done somewhere in a 12-hour day. Because the reality is, especially with kids, and we try to also anticipate, okay, so if these are our needs, I need some time off. I want to just sit and watch reality TV, which has somehow become a job for us. But we also try to put in stuff for all the kids.
A job that doesn't pay.
A job that, well, it pays. We get, I don't know, $5 a video. It's really coming in. It's really raking in the money. But I mean, the key to this though is communication, and we used to really struggle with this because he would work all day, and I would have very set, like at 11 o'clock I'd stop what I was doing, and I'd make lunch so that when he came in the door he could kick off his shoes because he came home for lunch, and he could eat, and he could watch TV, and he could do whatever he needed to, because at 1 o'clock he was in the car and he would go, and then he'd come home at 5 and we'd do it. Well, then we switch over to winter. No, not like that. We switch over to winter schedule where we would both get up and we'd both go to work for about 2 hours together to go feed the cows, or from 9 to 11. And then he'd come back, kick off the shoes, grab the Xbox and be like, so what are you making for lunch? And I'd be like, hold up. We are now both, and we had to transition every time we switched schedules. We would have to do the same thing. So he would start doing a whole bunch more chores, and then he'd go back to work working a 50-hour week. And I'd be like, honey, you didn't do your chores. And he's like, let's talk about that. So it's this constant adjusting. But in a really practical sense, for me, for writing, I used to have my office in the kitchen, so I could kind of half watch the baby. Well, now that my mother-in-law lives with me and John's at home, that is an invitation to trouble. So we found a little nook in the guest bedroom so I could have my office with locks on the door so I can lock it, big headphones so I can't hear, so that when he is watching the baby, you bugging the dog, and the dogs, when that time is carved out, it can actually be carved out. Another thing I do is I have Freedom, which is an app, but there's a lot of different options. If you look for like productivity apps, Freedom can lock you out. So the like clicking to Facebook sometimes isn't even a choice. It's a routine or a ritual, and it's something you don't realize you're doing until all of a sudden you go, oh my gosh, how am I on Facebook again, or YouTube or Twitter or anything. And so you can lock yourself out of those particular programs. We set aside specific days. Like I said, we have our needs. So for us, Sunday is family day, family and God day. And I turn off my computer a lot of times Saturday night and don't turn it back on till Monday morning, so that I can really spend that. I'll say Sundays is sometimes more exhausting than work days, because when you have a toddler, everything's kind of exhausting. But it's really important for him. I want him to feel like it's a priority, and we turn off the TV, and right now we go in the backyard and pretend it's the forest and that we're camping, and do all that kind of stuff. But I think the number one thing is, I would say, for working at home with your family, and whether it's short term, just during the quarantine, or if it's long term, you both run a business from home, is to have these it's better to have like this hour I'm goofing off than to feel like you have to sneak it and you never fully get your needs met. And then there's resentment from your partner, because this will be I'll feel like I'm slaving away and I'll come down and he'll be playing video games. But then he goes, well, it's like I get 2 minutes of video games and the kid interrupts me 90,000 times to take care of everything. And then he comes upstairs to see me watching a YouTube video and he's like, oh, I thought you were working up here. And it's much healthier to be like, okay, this is my hour to goof off and then take over. And this is let's lock the bedroom door. You can play Xbox for an hour without any little hands being daddy.
And just hope that, he doesn't poop on your time off.
Oh yeah. You gotta. If you want that time off, you gotta be out of the house. But yeah, so I encourage you to talk to your partner to figure out, and it's, in our case, I'm married, but if you have 4 roommates and you're all trying to work from home, I think it's probably a good idea to have a similar conversation. Or if you live alone, that's a whole different struggle, and I don't necessarily think it's easier sometimes, but I guess you have to have a family meeting with you. Anyway, I hope some of that is actually helpful. Do you have anything to add, John? Maggie, do you have any comments, questions?
She loves it because we're spending so much time.
Yeah, I know.
outside.
She's like, this is living the life. Never leave again. Okay, baby.
Love you.